Have you ever felt like competitive play is just for people with massive wallets? Yeah, me too, every now and then. But today, I'm going to blow your mind, alright? I'm going to be revealing 5 insane decks that will help you dominate today's meta. But here's the best part. They will cost you nothing. Absolutely nothing, okay? So these decks are absolutely perfect for those looking to get into the competitive scene without even breaking your wallet. So without further ado, here are some decks whales don't want you to know about. First up, we have the new Blaine deck. Introducing a new version of the Blaine deck by replacing Ninetales with Houndoom. Even with this change, you can still keep up with the deck's pace and playstyle, which centers around quick damage output and minimal resource investment. And yes, I know what you guys are thinking. While you do miss out on more damage with this change, you actually now have a lot more control thanks to Houndoom being able to lock people down with Corner. And at the time of this recording, this deck already has a 55.5% win rate, so we might be seeing this deck go places. This deck exploits players that require some time to set up, like Celebi and even some Dialga decks. So the whole deck itself is the definition of simple but deadly. Next up on our list, we actually have a Farfetch'd and Regigigas deck. Now hold on, hold on. Before you guys turn off the video, hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. I was not expecting to see this deck when I was doing my own research at the time. And this deck has been surprisingly fun to play with. Farfetch'd and Kangaskhan allow quick damage and pressure with minimal investment, while Regigigas acts as the main finisher. In our deck, we have potions, we have the cape, and we have Irida to keep Regigigas alive for longer. While this deck is relatively new as well, we have seen a pretty good win rate of 78%, so this deck might even be going places, who knows? Yeah, you'd be surprised with the amount of games I've won with this deck before. It's actually insane. From my own experience as well, this deck can do extremely well against decks that abuse chip damage like Darkrai decks. There's also the unique selling point of the surprise factor that we can take advantage of here, because obviously you're using Farfetch'd, you're using Kangaskhan. I mean, who's going to take you seriously after that? This is definitely a deck that opponents won't be able to see coming, and should they underestimate this deck, they're in for a fun time. So for our third deck, we have something very special just for you guys as well, and this deck completely counters the current Dialga X and Arceus X meta using the cheapest cards possible with Sudoowoodoo and Lucario. Okay, to start things off, Dialga X and Arceus X both have a common weakness, is that they are both extremely reliant on EX mons. These decks also have exploitable play patterns. Dialga always wants to be up ASAP to charge the back, so we can always expect it to be up front and center. So because we know that Dialga X is going to be front charging up the back line, we normally run Sudoowoodoo supported by Lucario to provide additional pressure with, and we also have Rampardos to one-shot pretty much everything else that breathes, really. This deck is played a lot to counter the current meta, and the win rate is actually pretty good at 55%. So if you run a deck heavily reliant on X mons against this meta countering deck, you're gonna be having a fun time. Next up on our list for number 4, we have a consistent performer for you guys as well. This one is going to be featuring Galvantula and Magnezone. And the reason why this deck works so well is that not only it's really consistent with a win rate of 57%, it's super easy to use, and it requires minimal investment since you only need to invest in the Galvantula line and the Magnezone line. Galvantula helps prevent switches and can even combo with Sabrina to lock other Pokemon in, and of course Magneton will help generate energy to set itself up for Magnezone. The other reason why this deck is so consistent is because not only this deck is super easy to play thanks to its minimal skill requirement, it also has a relatively simple playstyle, but with a bit of outplay potential. I would definitely recommend this deck to new players, budget players like myself, or maybe some with a strategic mind. And finally, for our 5th and final deck, if you want something that's a little bit more fun and you want to feel like an unmovable object, then this Bastiodon and Snorlax deck might be the one for you. It's been placed decently well in some tournaments, which was definitely a surprise, and I can see the potential in this deck. So the core strategy is pretty straightforward. Obviously, you want Snorlax to sit in the front, Bastiodon gets built at the back. We only have one copy of Shaymin in this deck just so we can give enough heals throughout the game. While the whole deck focuses on building Bastiodon at the back line, we also have a win condition in case things don't go your way. For instance, we have 2 copies of Berry just so we can give Snorlax some early game pressure, and at the same time, we have the red card to stall, disrupt, and ruin days. This deck has competed amongst other meta decks in tourneys like the Faster Than Light tournament, placing top 10 amongst these giants. Well, look, at the end of the day, competitive gaming isn't about how much money you spend, it's about strategy, skill, and having the right mindset. These decks prove one thing: You don't need a massive budget to crush the competition. But anyways, yeah, drop a comment down below and let me know which deck you are going to be trying out first. Let's build a community full of budget champions in here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, smash that like button and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.